welcome, Brother Issa, who, and also big ups to Sister Cynthia Martinell, your publisher, my friend, and all the shadow people that are running back and forth. We see a lot of shadows of folks, and to all of you who are listening. let them know that if we could identify their shadow, there's they talk about shadow people, and we got a lot of shadow people in your background. But welcome to Office Hours with Dr.
I got people wanted to come over today and be a part of this epic show that we're talking to, but they good.
It's fine. It's fine. Welcome to all of my viewers. I want you to give me the thumbs up, like, share. Come on right now. We get these numbers up. Let's share. If you're not subscribe. So you grew up in Washington, D.C., where the cherry blossoms, the cherry tree and the cherry blossoms they're very well known for that. And in the intro of your book, you say at the end of that introduction that you're going to tell us a bit about the cherry tree. But before we get there, let's again go back over who Issa Rael is, because I'm always reading people's bio, and I don't know whether people pay attention, whether they're listening or not, but it's better when the guests themselves is able to say to the audience and to me who they are in their own words. So just who is Issa Rael, and how did you come to pen in this book, which you call a very, very important work? Black people are dead in law. In other words, they're civil liber mortuus. So restore your citizenship.
All right. Well, Dr. G, it's real simple. Issa is just a regular guy who just wants to be loved by his creator. I was made to be on this planet to do something big. My mother told me I was. My mother's friends. My mother had a tailor shop on Georgia Avenue in Washington, D.C. I met a lot of famous people, a lot of quality people in my life, and they always inspired me, and they always gave me a lot of good wisdom and love. And I never wanted to let people down. One of the people I never wanted to let down was my mother. And my mother passed last year, and she told me that I was going to rise to my full potential, and she used to always tell me that. But Issa is just a brother who just wants to get the truth out to people, because I've been lied to for so long, and I knew somebody was lying to me, but I wasn't offended by it because I knew that the people who were lying to me, they didn't even know better. So what I did was I said, I'm going to go ahead and start doing some research. I'm going to start reading books. I want to be intelligent because I like to tell everybody I am not the sharpest crayon in the box. I'm really not. So that's why I have a lot of books, because I don't have that high of an opinion on myself to think that I know everything. So I used to go to the Library of Congress every Wednesday, me and my brother, Jabari, and we used to study and learn about things. And then I just found out one day that I wasn't black. And I knew I wasn't black because I was looking at my skin and I was like, that's not black. And then again, I learned that black is not even a color. And then another thing I learned that black is not even part of the spectrum, black or white. There's a color spectrum in the world, and it's the rainbow. And black and white is not a part of the color spectrum. So when I even start to learn that black is not even a color, like this shirt is dark. It's not even black, So I started realizing these things, and I said, you know what? Okay, then another thing, I started looking at Egyptian, old Egyptian literature and things of that nature. And they talk about in the 42 laws of Ma'at, one of the abominations of your life is to misrepresent your nature. And when you call yourself black, you misrepresent your nature. And that's an abomination. And then I read in the Bible in Jeremiah that black is a curse. And then I just started reading all the stuff. And then I started meeting people, and then they started talking about, well, the word black, the way I use the word black mean this and that. And then I started understanding how ignorant that was, because they did not invent the word black. And if you can use the word black for what you want it to be, then why can't you make up your own word? Because black is copywritten, and somebody else done already used it for a tag. So why would you try to make that a word for you when it's not your word, and you call yourself intelligent, and you're not a crayon, and you're not these type of things? So Issa Rael is just somebody who just really searching for the truth. That's all it is. My favorite Bible verse is Proverbs 25:2. It says, "For the Lord your God has hidden things from you, and it is the glory of kings to search them out." So I learned that God hid things from us. So to find out if we really studying, if we really on our square, if we really trying to be, are we really, if we're really rising to our full potential. And one of the most embarrassing, most trifling things that a man and woman can do on this planet is live from age 1 to whenever you pass, and then at the end of your day, you go back to the Creator, and the Creator say, "Who are you?" And you call yourself a crayon. Absolutely tragedy. So I'm not going to be that way. And so, Dr. G, that's who I really am. I'm just somebody who really want to try the truth. I love life. I love everybody that I come in contact with. I want to rise to my full potential. I love to teach. I love music. I love to read. I love to ride my bike. I love to solve problems. I love giving people remedy. And it makes my life worth living. And that's what I do. That's who I am.
Wow. So you exude what you say. You exude that peace, that harmony. There is a scripture I talked about it. I asked you before we went live if you have a religious or Christian background, if you were a pastor or teacher or anything. You said, no, I'm just a regular Christian, but you exude that scripture that says follow peace with all men. You know what I mean? In other words, to be, and then what the group you're in is called the Peacemakers Band. So it just goes to show that even from a standpoint of the Bible, which when we awaken from all of this illusion that we're living, a lot of times we tend, and I was guilty of this, to want to throw it away. And a wise man once said to me, Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey, Dr. G, he said, Dr. Naila, he wasn't calling me Dr. G back then. Dr. Naila, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And so when we tend to get into this place of a consciousness about who we are from a standpoint of nationality and birthright, we discard that, not knowing that so many things in that book, which were taken from other, writings and so forth, and then misrepresented and taught to us in reverse, and taught to us in allegory, and given a spooky connotation that when your eyes are open, you can go back to that very same book and look at it, and it becomes not the thing that held you captive in mystery and illusion, but it becomes your very liberation, because now you can go back not only and you've liberated and you're liberating yourself, but you can go back and show others in that same book that's you, that those people that you thought, those ites that you had an issue with, we learned about the Jebusites and the Hittites and anything that had an ITES at the end of it. We were pretty much taught that it was negative, and those were the enemies, when in fact those people groups were melanated folks, melanated men and women. So now you go back, and when you take out the spookism out of it and look at things from a realistic standpoint, you can get a whole different picture. And so you were led, you said you went through your life in your bio, and you didn't know what your purpose was for a while. But at age 20, I'm thinking you weren't behind the curve, because a lot of times at that age, we still don't know. We're just coming out of our teens, and depending on how one is raised, you still got a lot of most of us would have a lot of like, I want to get out there, I want to have fun, I want to do this. So we're not thinking about long term, and we're not, most of us, not saying everybody, but we're not thinking in terms of some altruistic task that the creator, the most high, the all, whatever you want to call that, the divine, you know, great being is calling you to do something great. And you'll hear it, you know, you said it, you know, people told you, your mother told you, my mother told me too. I didn't want to hear that stuff. My mother told me I was going to be a preacher, and I told my mother, nope, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. They're the same thing, depending on what you're doing. But yeah, but you, so you went to the Navy, in the Navy. Well, you went to college. Let's go back to college. So you went to college. You said 2 years at Virginia State University.
Yes.
And what was your major?
My major was hotel restaurant management. The only reason why I went to college was because when I was in 11th and 12th grade, I used to work for the JW Marriott Hotel. I was the only like 16, 17-year-old working with like 25 and 30-year-old people. They had children my age. I don't know how I got that job, but I had a very good job in high school. I had a lot of money in my pocket, and in 11th and 12th grade, had a great job. I was blessed my whole life. I was really blessed my whole life. And so I found out in the 12th grade that the Marriott had a college scholarship program where if you had a 3.0 grade point average, they would pay 75% of your tuition. So I showed them my report card, and I had like a 3.5 grade point average. So they paid 75% of my tuition. But I had to major in restaurant management, and I had no idea what I wanted to major in. So I went to college, and I was majoring in hotel restaurant management. I used to go to the classes. I used to be like, why am I here? But my mother and father was proud of me that I was in college. So I went on and did it. I went to school. When I was in college, the only thing I learned in college was hip hop, how to smoke weed, how to drink, how to go to all the parties. And my sophomore year, my roommate was Alamo, the DJ for a rap group called Brand Nubian. I mean, I went to college with Guy, the group Guy, Dash Effects, the rap group. I mean, I met so many superstars in college. And then after my sophomore year, I said, I don't want to do this no more. Because I had a better car than my teachers had. So I came back home and I said, Dad, I do not want to go to college no more. So he said, what you gonna do? I said, well, I'm gonna go to UDC for a semester, University of District of Columbia, and then I'm going to just figure it out. So I went to University of District of Columbia, and I took 14 credits. I had 4 classes. I had 4 A's. I had a job. I was paying rent. I thought I was living the life of Riley. And then one day, my father woke me up in the middle of the day. He said, son. I said, yes, Dad. What's up, Dad? He said, you got 30 days. I want you out of my house. And then I went to the military. And he was right to do that because I was all big and tall and had money in my pocket. He getting up early. I'm sleeping late. I'm going to work at 3 o'clock. I'm eating all the steakums, you know, doing everything. You know, man gonna be liking the little grown man up in this house, ripping and taking over all the food. So I went to the Navy. And fortunately, another blessing. My uncle was a lieutenant commander in the Navy. He said, man, go to the Navy, Issa, you're going to love it. I said, man, I ain't trying to go to no Bama Navy. But then he said, I'm trying to tell you, go to the Navy. And so I went to the Navy. As soon as I got to the Navy, I went to boot camp. Boot camp was fun as I don't know what. It was like 60 of us in boot camp. It was like 8 brothers in there. But all the European dudes, they love me like I don't know what. I used to call cadence in the boot camp. Your left or your right, left. We're picking them up and we're putting them down. But I learned how to make up my bed, shine my shoes, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We used to march for breakfast. You know, one of my friends was sitting here looking, he was in the Navy with me. My man, he said, yeah. And but guess what? But when I went to the Navy, as soon as I got out of boot camp, I came home for 3 weeks. As soon as I came back to my station, they said, you're going to the Gulf War. So I went to the Desert Storm. So I'm also a Gulf War veteran. I mean, you know, and I did 2 tours. But on the way there, the first time we went there, I got to live in Perth, Australia for 9 months because I had to wait till the war was going on. So I lived in Perth, Australia for 9 months.
Okay.
And that was one of the funnest things I ever done in my life. And I met the Aborigine people over there. So, you know, a lot of people my age at 20 years old from Washington, D.C., they didn't have those type of opportunities. So I had the opportunity to be over there. And then, you know, Desert Storm, Hawaii, Hong Kong, Japan, Tokyo, Philippines. I've been all over the world. Mombasa, Africa, Bangladesh. I got about this much medals. Like, I don't know where my mother put them up somewhere, but I got like about 30 medals and ribbons. Like, I killed somebody or I did a whole bunch of stuff, but I really was just a part of the military, and I did that. And I stayed in the military for 4 years. And then once I got out the military, okay, first of all, when I got out the military, they wanted me to re-enlist. And when they wanted me to re-enlist, they gave me 2 stations to choose, Guam or Italy, and I was going to get $28,000 re-enlistment bonus, $14,000 up front, and then $14,000 paid in increments over the next 4 years. I said, I'm homesick. I'm going home. And I got out the military and I went home. And then as soon as I went home, I laid around for about a month, and my father looked at me again to say, Slim, you're not getting it, Joe. What are you about to do with your life? You can't be laying up in my house. I don't care how many wars you fought. So I went to the VA. I went to the VA office, and the VA office said, go down to this post office, and you start tomorrow. I didn't even have to take the post office test. And I got a job at the post office. So that's another blessing. You see how my life was just going, everything was just going in order. And so I worked for the post office for 13 years.
Wow. And during that time that you're in the post, working for the post office. Now, I'm not sure if it was during your post office days or whether it was after, because you talk about, you know, coming up against a lot of trials and tribulations and tests and so forth that made you kind of go inward and listen to, you know, who you call the all, I call the Most High. But you begin to seek a higher level of peace, and probably you needed a hand, so to speak, you know, a divine hand to come in and intervene on what you said you were going through. And you don't have to go into what you actually went through, but you talk about, you know, in your bio that the men and women had sought to just bring you into court and just have reason, you know, cause for that. Did that happen while you were working for the post office, or did it happen after you embarked on this truth path of you know, study?
No, when I was working for the post office, I had a beautiful life. I was also a top network marketer at the same time I was in the post office, and I also dabbled in real estate. And so I had, you know, see, at the time too, I was married. I got married at 22. And so at the time I told my wife that she didn't have to work because I had, you know, children. So I said, I'll just make all the money. And so I made, you know, so I loved to, I mean, back then I loved to hustle. And I love learning, you know, new things. So once, you know, that's why they all sat me in my truck and said, dude, you make a lot of money. Because I started making more money outside the post office than I was at the post office. So, you know, I was making a lot of money, a lot of money. And so I was sitting in my truck after just getting $5,500 in cash from one of my friends named Arena, who she closed on a real estate deal, as I was one of her bird dogs finding foreclosed properties. So she used to meet me at KFC to give me my money when she would close, because she was an awesome real estate investor. And she, I met her because she was the mother of my son, my oldest son's friend. And so I went over her palatial house one day to drop my son off, and I said, excuse me, can I ask you a personal question? She said, yeah. She said, I said, what do you do for a living? She said, I'm in real estate. I said, can you teach me? And she said, sure. And so she gave me this book. I read it, and she gave me instructions. She said, if you don't read this book, then don't come back talk to me. So I read the whole book, and then she quizzed me, and she knew I was serious. So she said, you're gonna be my bird dog. So I went and started finding her foreclosure properties, and I was making a killing. That was like when the market was like that 2006, 2007 type of thing.
Before the crash.
Before the crash. So that's, yeah, the crash is exactly what it was. So so one day, you know, when I had that 5,500 in my pocket, I was like, dang, I was sitting in my truck. This is a true story. And I was like, I got 5,500. I just got paid from the post office. I'm getting my network marketing check. I said, this is the life. I'm going to keep doing this. And then some say, stop. No, you not. You're about to roll out of this joint because I got something better for you. So it was my cowardice and my comfortness of having all of these streams, but the all had something different for me. So the next day, I didn't go to work. And then guess what happened? Got divorced. Next thing that happened, I started learning law and helping people and doing things and was getting vicious in it. And people was around the city like, this dude gonna shut everything down. He messing up our program. So when I talk about, I don't mind talking about going, you know, like people was trying to get me in trouble because I was breaking things like I love to expose things. And and then, you know, once I get knowledge, I'm not a coward no more. That's why I try to teach all my people. The reason why you scared is because you don't know what's going on. So, so another thing too, when I left the post office, I took $8,000 out of my first savings account and spent it on books. I bought the Truth in Lending Act. I bought Fair Debt Collections joints. I bought every book in the world, and I was reading them over and over and over and over and over and over. And I mean, and it's like it's all still in me. So I have a wealth of knowledge that I can talk about and I can help people with. And I love helping people. I love giving people remedy. So I started helping people, you know what I mean? And then that was a kind of new little income stream, you know. So I started doing that, but it was private. And then, going to divorce, you have the 42 USC 666 courts. That's what the state court is. It's under Title 42 USC 666.
666.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness! What a number!
That's the Social Security Act. Yeah. So every time
that must be the real mark of the beast, then.
but it is the mark of the beast. It is. But guess what else 666 is?
What is it?
It is the formation of the universe. 6 atoms, 6 carbons, and 6 neutrons.
Right.
And so that's what it is. And so
but you know, ironically, now we know that they take most things and they pervert what may have a natural and a positive, and they pervert it into a negative for their own purposes. That they, and I'm sure you've run into that in your studies, since you're so well read. You've had to have seen how many things, when you really uncover the true nature of them, that there might be something that we see as something we might see as positive is actually a real negative in reality, and the reverse is something we see as negative is actually positive in reality. And it's always done to keep us off guard, if you will, not able to grasp back the things, and I say grasp back and to restore what we already knew, because we already knew this stuff, and I mean, it's in our DNA. It has to be in our genetic makeup, because these were our people who did these things. And so, we have this, it's in our DNA, but it's almost like there's a disconnect that has taken place. And so someone like yourself, it's almost as if you've had a miraculous reconnection of some of the things, because they say that in our DNA strand that there are, like, what is this, a very small, I don't know if you studied about that, but that there's part of our DNA strand has been it's been shut down. So our capabilities that are there are rendered impotent based on something that happened to us as a people.
Absolutely. And I'm glad it happened, because guess what? They gunning for me, want to see me fall. You know my story. I've been through it all. Nice, I felt like dying, but I ain't crying. What don't kill you make you strong as iron. So I was supposed to go through these things because I was now being groomed to be who I am now. The teacher, the brother who's going to help people with the remedy. That's what I do now. So if I didn't go through these things, if I didn't go through the fire, I wouldn't be able to be where I'm at now. So I was also looking forward to that because life was kind of getting kind of boring. So I mean, like, so when I went to jail for child support, it was one of the most funnest experiences I ever had in my life because I got to find out that jail is really a place where they just keep you there and feed you until you know get it right. So while I was in jail, I wasn't there long, you know, just a couple of weeks, you know. So I went to jail, you know, and I started reading the Bible, and you know, I started reading all the mail that I was getting. And another thing too, I had a nice support system. I had a real good support system. So in jail, I used to teach classes to the guards and to the inmates, and all of the thug, murdering, killing, stabbing people used to fight for me to sit at their table with them when it was time to eat, because I was always teaching somebody something, and they was like, you know, so I ain't have nothing to worry about. Everybody had my back. I mean, me, I've never been in a fight my whole entire life, and I used to walk around jail as like I was the man, you know, because everybody loved you because you got knowledge. And I used to tell my friends, I say, when you got knowledge, man, it's like you a superhero, because people really want to get that knowledge, you know. So I used to tell people, you know, that when you know, the Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving earth, or basic instructions for building lasting empires. And it also means your body. And it also is the law of the United States. People don't realize that the Bible is public law 97-280. In the year 1983, Ronald Reagan said, "Hear ye, hear ye. In God we trust. The Bible will be the word of God, and God we trust." So guess what? That's a code. So if in God we trust, let me read this Bible so I can learn how to help people get out of things. And Dr. G, after that, I was on and popping. And then what Noble Drew Ali say? Do not throw away your Bibles, for we are going to use them to condemn the government. And there go my brother right here, Noble Drew Ali. I love to show him. Because Noble Drew Ali is the one who really got me on my way. This is everybody who does not know about this man right here, Noble Drew Ali. He is the one that came to America in 1913 and told everybody, you are not black, Puerto Rican, Negro, colored, or none of those 1776 slave tags. You are a spirit man and a garb of flesh, first and foremost, a more American second, then that makes you an American citizen. So I start touching on those things with people, and then next thing you know, I became somebody of importance, you know, quietly, humbly. And that's how I always wanted to live my life. I didn't never want to be famous, but I wanted to be known for somebody who can really make a change. And that's where I'm at right now, Dr. G.